know I keep saying every year is my year. This year had better be my year. This week had better be my week. I'm tired.
This video is for girls in their 20s and 30s. In fact, this video is for everyone, male and female, in their 20s and in their 30s. Have you ever done something and then while thinking about that thing, you're like, if I had known, I would have not done it? Let's try to avoid that in 2025. That statement, let's try to avoid it. And I'm here to tell you how you can try to avoid such statements, especially when it comes to life-changing decisions. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Lucy's Quick One, talking a movie review. Now, today I'll be talking about this movie that has been on YouTube for a while. It's called Last to Marry. Now, people have been talking about it. However, while I have watched that movie, I have decided to take some lessons, not just about marriage, but also about life. Now, first of all, let's talk about the movie itself. Just a quick summary about that movie that really triggered me. Now, very first, we have this character called Abidemi. Now, Abidemi is an accomplished lawyer. You know, she's doing so well. She has her money to the extent that she gets a house for herself. And then she has a car. Like, this girl is established. Now, we are seeing this Abidemi in her room, about to sleep, and her mom is calling her, saying, you know, why would you get a house as a 3-year-old? Why would you get this? Why would you have that? Don't you know that men are intimidated by women who have such things? Women who go ahead to get houses, women who go ahead to have cars. Now, while this lady was sleeping before her mom calls, right, you could see that this lady is in this kind of game whereby people are standing to pick a lady who is interested in getting married to, or a lady who is ready to date somebody. And you can see that all the men are popping their balloons saying that, oh, she's a virgin, oh, she's fat, she's this and she's that. Now her mom calls her to just add more pressure to her. And through that, we also find out that this lady called Abidemi has this friends. She has 2 friends plus her, making 3. They call themselves the 3 Musketeers, and she's like telling her friends, you know, she really wants to get married. Like 2 of her friends are already married. Why is she the only one left? And she's discussing about, you know, the things she wants in a man. She wants a tongue-speaking Christian, not just a Christian. She wants somebody who is not just God-fearing, but is a Christian who loves God. She was just listing the things that she wants. Chocolate, fine guy, you know, just a fine man. She doesn't care if the man has money or not, because of apparently she already has money. Now, we move over to the fact that she was not telling her friends that she has this man in her office called BA that she likes. And they're like, okay, so what do you want to do about it? She's like, the guy is giving us signals. Maybe she should ask the question of what are we? You know, what are we doing here in this situation? One of our friends says, no, don't do it. The other one says, go ahead and do it. So Abidemi prepares herself, you know, lectures herself, practices to go and tell this guy, BA, that guy, I'm feeling you now. What do you think about the both of us? She gets to the office and gets a shock of her life where this particular BA comes to introduce his fiancée to her and says, I'm getting married to this lady. Now, this lady that BA is getting married to is 24. So this really pains Abidemi. She goes back home, calls her friends, and she starts to cry. And she cuts the call. And before we knew what was happening, this lady goes on her knees. And she begins to cry from the bottom of her heart. And she's like, God, if you are God, if you are God in this place, this week I must meet my husband. If you are God in this place, I must get married before I'm 34. I'm 33 now, but if you are God, I must get married before I'm 34. She was so angry. She was like, God, I dare you. She was talking to God, and God was like, okay, is that what you want? We move on to the next day. Like magic, ladies and gentlemen, guess what happens? She's about to go to work and she meets this guy called Amata. Amata is like, hi, I just moved in here. You know, the agent told me you're the owner of the house. My name is Amata. I would like to take you to dinner, you and your husband, to say thank you. And then she's like, no, I'm single. And he was like, oh, I would like to take you out. This guy is cool. We get to find out this guy is a God-fearing guy. He's a tongue-speaking Christian. He's everything and more that this lady is waiting for, has been waiting for. So I was like, wow, God, is this how you used to do? Okay. Now, that same week, this lady goes to work. And when she gets to work, she meets a particular guy called TJ. Now, TJ used to be her senior in secondary school. And from the conversation that they have, TJ has always had a crush on Abidemi for the longest time. And then he's like, you know, I found you again. Like, she has always been running away from me, this and that. Now, TJ is another prospect. Now, Abidemi is moving from a lady who had no prospect, who had no man interested in her, to 2 men who were now chasing her. As we go on in the movie, we now find out that this guy called Amata can be a Christian, but he has anger issues, like serious anger issues, to the extent that she was talking about him to her friends, and he was angry and didn't talk to her for weeks. Whereas TJ comes in, he's taking care of her. Now, the issue with TJ is that TJ is not a Christian, and he's already married, which means that he has a wife. I wanted to make Abidemi the second choice. So now Abidemi is faced with, okay, should she go for Amata, who has a very nasty attitude, who can beat her, if I beat her, and then we have TJ, who is soft-spoken, who loves her deeply and wants to make her the second wife, but is not a Christian and would not want his children to grow up in the Christian way because she has her own standards. So she was just having dreams. She was having dreams of how her life would look like if she gets married to Amata. Like, the man will be there for her, but he would always beat her, he would always nag you, always make her feel bad for the fact that she has money more than him and things like that. Now we have TJ. She dreams about her life with TJ as a wife, and then she's seeing that this man loves her deeply, takes good care of her, prioritizes her. But when it comes to the children, he cannot allow them to grow up as Christians because they are his own. So this lady is in a dilemma. She decides to go and visit her mentor. Abidemi goes to see her mentor, and she's like, she has these two choices, Amata and then TJ, and then she wants to know who she should marry. And the mentor was like, you have given me two options, but you have another option. That's the option of staying single. And she's like, I can't stay single. My mom will kill me. The society, everybody's talking about it. Like, I cannot imagine my life being single. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Abidemi finally decides to be single. Now, this Amata had the effrontery to come to her house to talk to her and say, why is she talking to another man? Now, inside this movie, there was a part where Amata proposes to Abidemi. Guys, I have never seen this kind of wedding proposal in my entire life. This guy buys this ring, says, you're not deserving of this ring, but God told me you're my wife, and because of that, take this ring and wear it. He puts the ring on the table and walks out.
So I won't mind your bad behavior. Wear it.
Ha! Well, it's a movie. It's a movie. Now, long story short, she says goodbye to Amata, she says goodbye to TJ, and decides to go for her purpose and then help other women to understand God, to love God, to serve God, and do her own thing. Now, at the end, there's a photographer that comes in. In my mind, I'm thinking that this photographer might be the man that God has sent to her because she has decided to, number one, be patient, and she has decided to allow the will of God in her life. The end. Now, let's talk about the life lessons from this movie. You know, it's not, like I said at the beginning of my whole gist, guys, it's not just about marriage. It's also at least applying the lessons from this movie, right, in your own life. Now, the first lesson will be allowing the will of God. You see this sentence I just gave? In as much as I'm saying this, I'm telling you for a fact that even for me, sometimes I find it a bit difficult to be patient. You know, you are looking for something, you are asking for something, you are yearning for something, and it looks like God is just stalling, and you're like, God, by this time next year, I need to see things happening. I mean, there is faith, but we are allowing God to take charge and just do his thing. I think it's always better, because at the end of the day, I think that if you push things, you will regret it. You know, most of the time we always forget that God is the one that created us, and then he understands what the reason we are here. We have dreams and aspirations, but he has the bigger picture of where he wants you to be and who he wants you to be. So while you are waiting, that waiting period, I see it as a training period, a resetting period, a period whereby you get the strength and the capacity for where you are going to. So the first lesson again will be just allow the will of God. So I might just be talking to somebody today. If you are yearning for something, just be patient. Now, the second one is, of course, have dreams and ambitions, but do not be desperate. Like, be desperate for nothing. We usually forget that, okay, it's almost in alignment with the first thing I said. If we don't get this thing, there will be problem. Sometimes people will be so desperate that they don't care if somebody loses their life, if somebody dies, they do not care. They just want to have that thing that they are looking for at this time. But I think that yes, it's good to have ambitions, but try not to be desperate. Be focused, but not desperate. They are different. The third lesson, guys, this one we usually forget, and it is we are the pressure that we feel. I don't think it's people who bring the pressure to us that are the pressure. We are the pressure. You know, if somebody, let me give an analogy. If you are seated and somebody like takes a bean seed and throws it at you, you know, you decide whether or not that bean seed will pain you or not. Now, I understand that, you know, people will always have opinion about your life, about the things that you do. But how much of those things do you allow into your system? How much of those things do you allow into your head? You already know what it is that you are going through. It is the man that wears the shoe that knows where it pinches the most. So I don't think you should allow people and their opinion to actually guard your life or guide your life or decisions that you make. Yes, you can listen for advice, but learn to like know how to take the ones that are for you and the ones that are not for you. There's this Yoruba song that goes, I think it's Kosono Toleda, Kosiwa Tolewu, Tolofitaya Laro. I tried. I think there's nothing you can do. There is no way you can go that you can actually satisfy everybody. I was watching a video by Maraji on Instagram and she was saying things like, see, if you get married early, people will say, why did you get married early? If you get married late, people will say, why did you get married late? If you get married early and have kids immediately, they will say, why didn't you wait? If you get married early and do not have kids immediately, people will still say, why are you stalling? Like, you can never ever satisfy everybody. But the most important person that you can satisfy, or the most important person that you always have to look out for, is you. Don't forget it. Last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, you see this thing called standards. They are the things that you have decided, you have seen that these things are good for your mental health. These things would help you. If you have them, it will help you in your journey called life, right? Or in this journey called life. Whenever you set these standards, pray to God for the capacity to be able to stand by your standards and live by your standards. Because sometimes, you know, you might be like, oh my God, should I bend this way? Should I do this way? And then when you do it, you now begin to regret, saying, if I had known, I should have stood my ground here. If I had known, I should have stood my ground there. So think about it this way. You have seen how certain things have played out in your life, and these are the things that work well for you. So if they work well for you, or these are the standards that you have, I'm telling you that you should stand by it. Stand by your standards, live by your standards. Again, it's about you. So this is my advice to those in their 20s, those in their 30s. I'm among this age. I'm not as experienced, but from the things that I have learned and the things I have listened to and the things that I have seen, I would like to say that these are the lessons that you should hold in your hand as you journey through life. I love the fact that I saw messages on that movie, or the comments on the movie, saying people who could relate, people who said that this story reminds them of their own stories and they had to just wait. Some who said they didn't wait and then this is what happened to them. Like, patience, guys, is a virtue. And that's it when it comes to this movie review of this movie titled Last to Marry. If you are yet to see it, please go ahead and see it. It's very free on YouTube. I got you more right here on this channel. Till next time, guys, remember to enjoy every moment. And yes, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please, of course, do subscribe and drop your comments on this video. Bye.